What's going on, game players? I want to welcome you guys to Listener Feedback, episode number 28. And in this week's episode, will be starring Crimson Phoenix, who is back in the building again. We also have one subset Tekken. Come on down, brother. Come on down. Yes, sir. Who else do we have here? We have Glove Box Gaming, who is back again for another week. Shout out to you, brother. Man, I saw you stream, brother. I saw you doing your thing. And up next, finally, we also have Vaughn, who has sent in another email. Not an email. I do this every time with you, Vaughn. This brother sent a voicemail. This brother is starting to become absolutely the VIP and MVP of voicemail. This brother sends all of his stuff is voicemail. So, brother, shout out to you. I can't wait to get into it. So, without further ado, and once again, man, listen, man, look. Last week, man, I did not have the time. I got home. I had to leave back out for work. I said, man, I'm tired. I can't do it this Wednesday. And so that's why I'm actually recording this on Sunday. So I'm doing double duty today. So this is going to be the first episode you guys are going to get. And then I'm going to record the weekly show with the gaming news and all of that good stuff, the Analog Circle podcast. So without further ado, though, I want to go ahead and get into the first email. Now, before I get into the email, if the listener, you listening right now, if you want to be a part of the next episode of Listener Feedback, which will, hey, listen, man, I'm going to hope it's going to be recorded on Wednesday, no later than Thursday, because at the job around this time, we do start to get real busy, man. So I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to keep trying to give it to you guys as far as the listener feedback every week between Wednesday and Thursday, but it might slip in between. I'm going to let you guys know it's getting ready to be summer, and truck drivers, man, that is peak season for us. So we'll see how it goes. But if you do want to be a part of the conversation, a part of the next episode, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you guys like the content, only if you like it, only if you want to support it. If you like what I do here, I ask that you guys do me a favor. I normally don't ask, but somebody suggested to me to ask you guys to leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. If you like the content, that's a great way to support the podcast. If you can go over there, get some more eyes on the show, and I would greatly appreciate it. But with that being said, let's get into the first email, who comes to us from Crimson Phoenix, who has said, now the title of his email is, "Don't Worry, I Always Will." He says, "Hello again, my friend. Yes, I'm still actively listening to the podcast. I'm not on," and I appreciate that, brother. He says, "I'm not on a complete hiatus for all those curious about their chances on getting one of the Xbox codes you've given out. I guess what I'm saying is thank you for the last $25 Xbox gift card." Man, shout out to you, Crimson Phoenix, for the W, brother. You got the $25. I thank you for writing in and letting me know. Thank you for that. Let me continue with your email. He says, "At least when I get one, I let the man know it's not too much to ask." Sheesh. Please tell him again, Crimson Phoenix, that's all I ask. Let me know that you got it so I can shout you out congratulate you, and hope you enjoy what the $25 can get you. Let me continue with your email here, brother. He says, if I wasn't clear before, it's overtime season in my industry. Oh, man, I can relate. I told you guys, it's peak season for truck drivers as well. He says, in my industry, and I'll be on 60-hour weeks, which give me plenty of time to listen to all my favorite podcasts, including yours. I appreciate the kind words. He says, thanks for keeping me entertained while I'm at work. The reason I won't be a regular guest on Feedback is my free time will be spent with my family, my Xbox, and rest. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. He says, and if you're curious where the money's going, I plan to purchase Sniper Ghost Warrior contracts 2 due out next month. It's a little known series, but I enjoy it all the same. It's, as you say, it's about the games. That's all it's about, brother. It's never about anything else but the games. And I am familiar with that game, by the way. He says, again, keep me entertained. I promise I'll be here listening at the very least. Till next time I write, again, thank you. I'm out. Shout out to Crimson Phoenix. The brother has won the $25 Xbox gift card. It's that simple. Just type it in, write it down, type it in, see if you're the winner. I don't know. It was a long time, Crimson Phoenix, and I talked about this before, but it was a long time. Nobody were redeeming the codes. I don't know if they thought they were fake. I don't know if they didn't have the time or what, but it's real. All you got to do is just take the time, write it down, and see if you're the one who won. So, Crimson Phoenix, thank you again, brother, for writing in, letting me know that you got it. I'm glad that it's going towards a game that you're a fan of, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. I'm glad that you're going to enjoy that, and it came in handy, man. That's why I just love giving them out, brother. I love giving back to you guys that support me. Like I say, it's just a small token, man. It's just, I'm not a rich man. You know, I would love to give away a PS5. Man, that would mean I was balling. You hear me? If I could give away a $500 or $400 PlayStation 5, oh man, I'd be doing wonderful in life. But unfortunately, nah, that's not my story. You know, so that's why I get these $25 joints out to y'all, man, because that's all I can afford. But I appreciate giving them out to y'all because, you know, I appreciate those who, you know, rock with me and you guys tune in, man. That means a lot. Because like he said, like Crimson Phoenix said, it's a lot of podcasts out there. And just the fact that you guys swing through to show that support, I just want to give back. And I thank y'all for that. And Crimson Phoenix, again, I'm repeating myself, but I truly thank you for this email, brother. Hopefully, you know, if you win again, you'll write in again, brother. But I know you on a hiatus. I know you're enjoying your family, your Xbox, and rest. I understand, brother. But if you win again, please feel free to write in. And if you have some free time, feel free to write in as well, brother. E3 season is among us. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of gaming news coming out in the next few short weeks. It's pretty impressive. Well, not impressive, but amazing how fast time is moving. E3 is in a few weeks, y'all. It's unbelievable, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and move into the next email. And once again, thank you, Crimson Phoenix, so much, brother. But we're going to roll on into, man, I'm all tongue-tied. Y'all know what happens at least once episode. But we're going to move into the next email, which comes to us from one Subset Tekken, who says, now the title of his email, oh, man, what timing. He says, E3. What we should look forward to. He says, hello, Kiaun. I hope all is well, brother. You know what I say. I'm striving and surviving, brother. He says, you asked the question, what conference are we looking forward to? Me personally, as to no surprise, I'm looking forward to Sega. What? Man, hey, brother, you hit me completely out of left field with this. You're looking forward to Sega's conference just to see what they have in store. Man, brother, nah, I ain't see that one coming, brother. You blindsided me. God, dog. He says in store, not only for the Virtual Fighter franchise, but Shinobi as well. Oh, my goodness, man. I want to see him make a comeback. He says, games like Ninja Gaiden and Ghost of Tsushima have run away with that type and style of game. Shinobi is no slouch, and I think it can compete with the best of them. Man, y'all remember, what was it, Revenge of Shinobi 2 or 3? I don't know which one, but he was fighting Batman in one, and he was fighting Spider-Man in the other one. I don't know how the world Sega got that done. Two totally different IPs. You know, I think were they in the same game or not? I just know one, you fought Batman, and the other one was Spider-Man. It was crazy time in gaming. But let me continue with your email, and I'm going to lose my voice before this episode is over. I can tell y'all that. But he says, I think it could compete with the best of them. I am also looking forward to what we don't know about Sega. What we don't know about. Sega has the perfect opportunity to surprise us with something we did not know we wanted. Well, you know, they have that 5-year, well, that game is supposed to be in development for 5 years, this big, huge blockbuster. I mean, I know it's super early in that. I don't even think development has started, but maybe they'll give us an idea of what that is. You never know, brother. You never know. But let me see. He says, let me continue on. He says, I'm also excited about this calling out. Hold on. Okay. He says, I'm also excited about this calling out of Ubisoft, and I know I might be setting myself up for disappointment, but maybe we can get another glimpse or some news of Beyond Good and Evil 2. I'm trying to figure out myself, brother, where the world is that game? I have no idea. They showed it one E3. It looked promising. A couple of months later, they had some more footage of it. It was looking good, and all of a sudden, that joker just vanished into complete air. I mean, it disappeared. I don't know what's going on with that, but I absolutely agree. I would love to see that game, one subset Tekken myself. So we'll see what happens. He says E3 has always been a very exciting time, and I hope it's not like last year. Too many drops of news out of nowhere. I agree, brother. I do not want that. I want one cohesive. I said cohesive. God dog, I'm making up words. Cohesive E3. I just want that 1 week worth of news, and that's it. He says, for me, it was too much of the rubber band effect where they drop news and you got to catch up and you miss the wave of excitement. I agree. He says, I just prefer to have all of my gaming news out of E3 within a whole week long. Absolutely. It's been that way for years. I say, why mess with tradition, brother? Keep it that way. It's great. It holds these guys' feet to the fire. If they are trying to show something off, you don't have to be at E3 per se, but if you're trying to show something off, I think that E3 season should be the time to do it, and that is in June. So all of this sprinkling of news this week and that week, nah, man, I just want it all in 1 week. I agree with you on that one subset. He says, instead of being stretched out weeks over the summer. After that week, you take a look at videos, seeing things you didn't see, and get ready for the fall games. He says, and I hope and pray that Microsoft, oh my gosh, man, you ain't by yourself. He says, and I hope and pray that Microsoft has something that we didn't know we wanted, or they just have some big gaming news that we'll be talking about all the way till October. He says, finally, I am really looking, man, hold on, brother. I can't speed past Microsoft. Brother, I need this. One subset Tekken. Brother, I need Microsoft to show something of amazing quality. I need it. One sub said, Tekken, I have had a meltdown over the last couple of E3s with Microsoft showing all of that AA stuff. I don't want AAs. Give me some triples in between. Give me some triples with the sprinkles. Man, all of these AA after AA after AA and Gears, Halo, and Forza. Man, they gotta give us something. I agree. One sub said, Tekken, they gotta give us something that excites us, that gets us talking. AAs ain't gonna do it. I mean, good gosh, man. Let me finish with your email here, brother. He says, finally, I am really looking forward to whatever news that Disney might have coming up with any of the Marvel franchises. Interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting, huh? He says, being a Marvel junkie growing up and actually seeing some of the stories that I read as a kid on the big screen is something I'm really looking forward to. I know, man, I wasn't like the biggest Marvel fan back in the 90s. I preferred Image Comics. Spawn was my dude, man. I loved Spawn, the Wildcats, or I forgot. It was a couple of Image comic book characters that I liked. But Marvel wasn't my deal. But the one that really kind of tickled me a little bit, one subset, was the Infinity War. You know, that was huge back in the 90s. Everybody was talking about, you know, the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos and all of that stuff. So I know what you mean. It is pretty wild and amazing to see these stories. Like you said, we read them in the comic books, and to see them actually on the big screen, and they're done well. They're done excellent even. You know, where it doesn't look all cartoony or, you know, very, very cheesy, you know, but done in a great way. It is pretty amazing when you sit back and you kind of look at that, because, man, the earlier superhero movies, I guess you ain't get much better than Superman and Batman. And that Superman movie, golly, when he turned the earth backwards, the backup time or whatever to save Lois Lane, I think, something like that. I said, man, but what is this? But we were in the 80s back then. I mean, what the world did we expect? Let me finish up your email here, brother. He says, let me see, told on the screen. Oh, yeah, he says screen is a bit of a nostalgia, and it is also a fresh take on 30-year-old stories. He says, well, that's all for me. As always, wash your face, hands, and butts, and please wear a mask. I don't care if you are fully vaccinated. Wear a mask. Peace. My man, one subset, Tekken, as always, brother, it's incredibly great to hear from you. Love hearing from you, brother. Love getting your takes. Love getting your opinions. And yeah, brother, E3, man, I am really looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Microsoft the most, because it seems like for the most part, like I said, they don't hit it out the park every time. But Sony, they always show something amazing off. So I'm rooting for Microsoft, who is the underdog right now. And I think that, I'm telling y'all, I just got this feeling about Ninja Theory that whatever they show, you know, the Senua's Sacrifice, that's going to be the one, man. I think that is going to be the graphical showpiece that we are looking for. But we will see, though, one subset. I know you sent in another email here, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But up next, we have Mr. Glovebox Gaming. Matter of fact, hey, Glovebox, man, I saw your stream come up this morning when I woke up, brother. So I didn't get a chance to check it out last night or early in the morning. I think it was kind of early. But I want you to know I did get the notification. Unfortunately, brother, I wasn't able to drop in. I believe you were playing Returnal. I think the title of it was even called Let's Play Returnal or something like that. But shout out to you for you guys listening. Definitely subscribe to Glove Box. This brother gives away amazing things on his channel. God, dog. This brother is, man, hey, Glove Box, let me ask you a question, brother. Do they have openings at your job? You just holler at me and let me know, brother. Anyway, let me get into your email here. He says, the title of his email is, what's up, bro? Man, I'm here, brother, I'm here. He says, hey, man, sorry for not jumping into the listener feedback. Oh, brother, hey, man, it's all good. He says, I get so busy during the week, and I forget to put my 2 cents in. It's not a problem. He says, also, thanks for stopping by my channel and showing me love. Oh, yeah. That was what? Last week, I think. I think it was last week because it was your birthday week. Well, let me finish reading your email here, brother. Good grief. That was no problem, man. I enjoyed. Matter of fact, I gotta say, Glove Box, you actually convinced me that once I do get a PS5, I think I'm gonna pick up Returnal. That game looked fun. I mean, it was hard as heck, brother, but it looks like a lot of fun. And Resident Evil Village actually looked really, really good too when you were playing that. So I think I'm going to give Resident Evil, Village a shot. It looked pretty good from what I saw when you were playing it. He says, but let me continue with your email, brother. He says, I really appreciate it. He says, okay, and that was no problem, brother. I was glad to stop by. He says, okay, I just want to say you've been crushing it lately with your topics. Man, thank you, brother. He says, one week I thought we were having church. Church because I said amen more than once. He says, I cannot wait until E3 and I hope Microsoft shows up. See, everybody is hoping. He said, I'm hoping Microsoft shows up and shows out. Everybody wants to see Microsoft win. I mean, I think it's just the fact that they haven't had anything lately. And I mean, you look over on the Sony side, these guys got Miles Morales, they got Demon Souls, whether or not it's your kind of game or not, that's subjective. They have Returnal, they got Ratchet and Clank coming out next month. I mean, these guys have been dropping hit after hit after hit. And when you have Phil Spencer, golly, listen, that's $7.5 billion that they paid for Bethesda and ZeniMax. Man, that's like the biggest boss move ever. I'm going to always give Phil Spencer and his team the credit for that. Satya Nadella, who allowed it to go through. That was just huge. Humongous move by Phil and the team, over at Microsoft, everybody involved in that deal. But man, when you basically said, Phil, that you didn't need any launch games, really, when the Series X came out, I said, God dang, man, that does not make me feel very comfortable and very hopeful for the console. I mean, golly, Phil, you gotta know you have to have the software to go with the hardware. It's what sells the box, and I get it. Right now, they are impossible to find. They're hard. But Phil, come on, man. You just got to give us something. Just something, Phil. Let me finish with your email here, Glove Box. Man, I done lost my place, brother. Hold on. Let me see. E3. Okay, he says, finally, Kiaun, open the PSVR. Says, open the PSVR, my brother. Wipeout is in VR along with 50 other awesome titles you're missing. Stay blessed, and I will hit you up soon. Glove Box, brother. Man, let me... Man, y'all brothers trying to get me to open it. Listen, brother, as soon as I can. And I got to shout out Mike J too, Glove Box. He actually told me the same thing. Mike J sent me a message and said, well, brother, I got some good news for you. You know that Wipeout is on PlayStation VR. So, yeah, what's stopping you from playing that? And I'm like, oh, man, you got me, brother. You got me. You know, so, I'm telling you, as soon as I get the chance, Glove Box, as soon as I do, I'm going to open up the PSVR and I'm going to see what it's about, brother. I'm going to see what's cracking with it, brother. I'm going to see what happens. But, Glove Box, man, I really, really appreciate hearing from you. I appreciated your email that you sent me, brother, telling me to open up the VR. Looking forward to Microsoft C3. And, you know, just hoping that they knock it out the park. I really hope so too. I mean, listen, man, I've been scorned, you know, by Microsoft quite a few times, you know, and matter of fact, speaking of scorn, is that game gonna come out this year? Is that one of the big games? I hope so. But, you know, it's just been rough being an Xbox fan, preferring the console, and me having to go and get a PS5 because I just feel more comfortable with that console. You know, that just, man, that says a lot, brother. It really does. Because I love the PlayStation brand. I do. You know, but I always just would traditionally, without hesitation, pick up an Xbox. You know, but this is the first time where I'm like, man, y'all are really, really blurring the lines for me. And I just don't feel comfortable because last generation, I think y'all burnt me quite a bit when I looked over at what PlayStation was doing. Even Nintendo has a couple of joints that I enjoyed. So I don't know, man, but we'll see. But trust me, Glove Box, I understand, brother. You get very busy. You know, work is stressful enough. You know, having to take care of your family, all of your obligations. You know, writing in, that's like the last thing on your mind. And I really, really understand that. But when you're able to write in, brother, Glove Box, is always awesome to hear from you. And don't worry, brother, you can stay gone for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Is always a spot for you here, brother, and I appreciate you, man. We're gonna go ahead though, and we're gonna get into matter of fact, Vaughn, you are up next with your voicemail. So, brother, we are gonna get into your voicemail right about now.
What's going on, Kiaun? It's Vaughn. Hey, in reference to your question from last week about if Game Pass is hurting Xbox sales, I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to say yes, definitely, but I'm also going to say that if the other two console manufacturers, Sony and Nintendo, feel obligated or pressured into getting a Game Pass type service, I think the whole gaming industry will be hurt with this move if all three companies are doing it. Number one, we'll get more games, but I think the quality of the games will go down. Number two, let's say 3 years from now, 5 years from now, one of them says, well, this was a mistake, we're losing revenue and this was a bad idea. Because the other two companies are still doing it, they're not going to feel like they could back out of it. It will be a bad move at that point. So it'll be a road they'll go down, but it'll be hard to come back from. So that's my take on that. I have to add this caveat that I do love Game Pass with it just being on Xbox. I mean, I have it, but I think it would be a bad idea to take it any further. That's what I'm afraid of. Anyway, another thing on the console front, I hear that, speaking of Xbox, that they've made the decision to stop doing online sales. They're going to put consoles in the stores. So I know you've been waiting to get that, so that's good news. You'll probably be able to get one when they get the stock going. And then finally, my question for you this week is going to be, what game, can you name 2 games that you think were either underrated or duds, didn't do great in sales, but you think that could use a next-gen remake, just redo the game? For me, I have 2. Wet, if you remember that game, it was kind of like Max Payne, Sleeping Dogs, Tony Hawk type game. And Black, which was a first-person shooter that was known for the sound of each individual gun. I think something like that on the PlayStation 5 would be awesome. Anyway, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Talk to you later. I'm out. Peace.
My man Vaughn, brother, you always come through with questions, and I appreciate that. Now, first off, brother, thank you for your voicemail. Thank you for taking the time out to have called, brother. It's always appreciated. It's great. Like I tell all of you guys, it's fantastic just to get you guys points of view and you guys, your take on certain things. And what you brought up here, Vaughn, which I found pretty interesting as far as, the question I was asking, is Game Pass hurting Xbox game sales? You took it a step further by saying that you think that as a whole, and this is only, riding on the possibility of Nintendo and Sony actually jumping in and making their own Game Pass, I guess, equivalent. You were saying that you think that would actually hurt the gaming industry as a whole. And even though we may get more games, the quality of those games could go down, and we might be getting into a situation with Atari. Matter of fact, hold on, Vaughn, I got to spend some time with you for a minute, brother, on this one. Brother, first off, let me tell you this, and let me tell you guys listening, the listeners, Vaughn hit me with a gem. I mean, this thing was a rare diamond that I knew it was out, but I didn't know I needed to watch it. Man, let me tell you, that You're Playing with Power Nintendo documentary that you put me on, that's on Crackle right now, which is free. I didn't know Crackle was free. Crackle got some stuff on it. But that documentary, whoo, brother. That thing, man, it was certain parts. Vaughn, let me tell you, brother, I was just reliving the magic of Nintendo. It was certain parts, brother, I found myself didn't even know why until I thought about it. I was getting misty-eyed, brother. I was like, man, just the nostalgia, the commercials, seeing these games, brother, it was like I was reliving my childhood all over again. And that documentary, it did something for me, Vaughn. It really made me appreciate what Nintendo is. Nah, they don't do the flashy graphics. They don't do voice acting or any of that stuff with their characters. But what they do is they resonate with, and I think I said that wrong, but they resonate with that younger demographic, man. And we need that. Looking at Mario, those commercials. I mean, Mario, man, that Joker gotta be the closest thing to Mickey Mouse, in gaming. It's like Nintendo, I've said it for years, Nintendo is the Disney of gaming. And it just, man, it took me to a certain place. That documentary was awesome, Vaughn. And I thank you for putting me up on it. You guys listening, I would just highly recommend just looking at that doc. It was incredible. Brought back so many memories looking at the first Nintendo Power that they showed. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. I was on ground zero with all of this stuff, looking at the Power Pad, in the box, taking me back to the Christmas that I had got Nintendo. Brother, man, Avon. I gotta give you a round of applause, brother. That joint right there, man, that was special. That was a very, very special documentary to me. And it just helped me to appreciate what Nintendo does. Now I ain't gonna let them off the hook completely, Vaughn, because I think they should do better. But it made me appreciate them so much, though, man. But Vaughn, I had to shout you out for that, brother. Just an excellent doc. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. But Nintendo, they should do better, though. They should, god dog it, they should. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into your voicemail here, Vaughn. Let's get into it, brother. Because you struck a chord with me when you had said that you think that this could actually, hurt the gaming industry and we would get games of lesser quality. And that it kind of triggered the thought, well, that's what happened with Atari, and how they had pretty much crippled gaming at the time, and it was on its way out, and Nintendo came back and they hit us with that Nintendo seal of quality. So that's what triggered me all the way back to that documentary that I looked at from start to finish. It was amazing. But that's an interesting take because you think about it. Not all of these companies have Microsoft money. I mean, as rich as Sony is as a whole, they don't have Microsoft money. As rich as Nintendo is, they can't afford that. Making AAA games and putting them into a service, I don't know how that looks. And I mean, if you get like 40 and 50 million subs on it, I would think the money would be there though, Vaughn. But it's an interesting point to make because we did hear that Ubisoft even said that their games, the quality of their games is going to start to go down. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to make AAAs. I'm sure they are. And I think we talked about this, but they are going to have some games that will be coming out to AA quality, and I'm sure that that's to cut costs for these games because they're becoming so expensive to make. And if it did get to the point where they felt like, okay, this is what we must do, it's a good point that you bring up, Vaughn, that the quality, it just might drop because they need more money possibly in order to continue to fuel the machine. Not everybody can take the losses that Microsoft takes when it comes to some of this stuff. So I thought that was a really good point. And like you said, you like what Microsoft does with Game Pass. You enjoy the service and you just want them to keep it on the Xbox or in the Xbox ecosystem for now. You're happy with it being there. And I hear you, Vaughn. I mean, once again, brother, very, very interesting point. And I guess we'll, have to see what what Sony and Nintendo's response could possibly be to Game Pass. So we'll see what happens with that. But I definitely enjoyed that opinion, Vaughn. And up next, now you were saying that consoles. You're going to be able to get them in store and not order them online. I think I read something about that, Vaughn, from Target. I believe Target said that they were going to start having the consoles just available in the store, and you got to walk in and get it. And I think that is awesome. Give everybody a chance, equal footing. And hopefully I can get one of these PlayStation 5s. I need it by next month. If any of you guys have any kind of directions to give me, email me, please. Let me know any kind of slight edge that I can get to get this PlayStation 5. Please let me know something. But I think it's great being able to walk into the stores and be able to get one off of the shelf and not having these bots snatching them all up before anybody who really wants them can get one. That is excellent. I'm glad they're doing it, Vaughn. The next thing you were talking about was games that were underrated, that I thought was underrated and I thought that deserved, I believe, sequels or remakes. And, brother, you hit me out of left field with that one, brother. You said, what could grief, Vaughn. Brother, that was a very underrated game. I don't know, was that under the Bethesda banner? Did Bethesda, were they behind that game, one of their studios? Because if I'm remembering right, it was kind of like a grindhouse looking game. It had a female protagonist. She had dual pistols. And like you said, it was like a Max Payne kind of game where things would slow down. She was very acrobatic, if I remember. It was one scene, man, I think she was sticking out of the top of the roof of a car and was shooting in this one scene. Man, that game right there. I agree. I don't know why that game didn't hit better than what it did. I think, did she have a sword too, Vaughn? I might be going a little too far with the sword, brother, but I thought she had a sword too. But that game was awesome. I love the art style of it. Like I said, it gave you that grindhouse feel. Golly, man, what the heck did happen to that? Yeah, they should have definitely made a sequel to that. I don't think it did so well, but I agree with you on that one. That definitely deserves something, Vaughn. And then you brought up Black, another game that was really, really good. I believe, was that EA? I think that was under EA's banner. Black with the different guns. Now, granted, I didn't play Black. I never played that game, Vaughn, so I can't really speak to it. But people said at the time it was definitely ahead of the curve on a lot of things that it was doing with the gun design and the gun sounds and all. So Black, hey man, maybe EA will make something happen. Matter of fact, well, no, that doesn't have to do with EA. Never mind. But yeah, I dig it. Now you were asking me, what games would I like to see get a second lease on gaming life? Brothers and sisters, if you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time, y'all know that at the very, very top of my list, and even though, Vaughn, they tried to redo it, they did for Last Generation, they tried to bring it back, it didn't work, but it was Bulletstorm. It's always gonna be Bulletstorm for me, brother. That is always at the top of my list. That kill with skill mechanic was special, Vaughn. And then actually kicking the enemies into the air, having time slow down in the game and just being able to mow them down or killing them in different ways. Good gosh, that is still to this day one of my absolute favorite first-person shooter of all time. It is, man. I stand on that one, brother. I need them. People Can Fly. I need y'all to make a sequel to Bulletstorm. I need that. You would get this certain gun, Vaughn. I don't know if you played Bulletstorm, brother, man, but I'm reaching back into the memory bank. It was this awesome gun. You would shoot it and the bullet, you would see it from the bullet's perspective. It will fly, hit the enemy, pew, in slow motion. It was phenomenal, brother. So yes, Bulletstorm for me, Vaughn. I need that, brother. I need it. I need a sequel to that game ASAP. Now, you said name 2. I'm going to give you 4, Vaughn, because you got my mind running with this one. I think that Sleeping Dogs deserves a sequel. That first game, now granted, I gotta be honest, Vaughn, when I first started playing Sleeping Dogs, I didn't like it too much. I had to put it down, I picked it back up, and that second time when I played and got the moves down, the parries and the counterattacks, oh, that game was awesome. Because I was saying to myself, golly, man, I want a game where you can shoot. I don't want this hand-to-hand combat. I want to be able to, pow on somebody. But after I got used to the game, to the mechanics, and understood that this is just the gameplay loop, this is what the game is, man, that game was so awesome, man. I would love to see a Sleeping Dogs 2. I told you guys the story about that's how I got Judgment, because it was falsely advertised by some YouTuber, and I believed them because I wanted the sequel so bad that that's why I got Judgment, because I thought it was a sequel to Sleeping Dogs. I love Sleeping Dogs so much, and the two have nothing to do with one another at all. But they both do have the hand-to-hand combat, and shockingly, they are pretty similar. You do not fire a gun in Judgment either. It is all hand-to-hand combat, and I absolutely love it, though. So yeah, that's 2 for you, Vaughn, right there. The third one that I want to bring up, brother, and this one was so dope. This was during the 360 era. It was Stranglehold, brother. Stranglehold again. That Max Payne type of style. That game was so amazing. The kill cam on that game was incredible. When you would shoot the gun and you would see the bullets flying and you would hear the enemies screaming, oh, when they would get hit, and you would be able to, like dive on furniture and actually shoot the dual pistols while the cart was moving and you could shoot in slow motion. That game was amazing. So I would love to see. I think that was during the, was that John Woo? I believe he actually was in the game, or he directed the game. I forget, but man, that game was amazing. I know John Woo was in it some kind of way, but that was so awesome, man. That game was dope. Golly, I don't know why they never made a sequel to that. I think that was under Midway at the time when that was made. And I think Midway, shortly after that, they went out of business. So I would hope somebody would pick up the IP and do something with it, because that game was so darn good. Stranglehold was awesome. I mean, that game was phenomenal to me. Just the bullets and, man, anyway, I'm starting to get long-winded. But the fourth game that I want to bring to your attention, Vaughn, and I had so much fun with this. It was the Wheelman. Wheelman starring Vin Diesel. That game was so dope. It had a whole new mechanic to it that was called airjacking, where you could jump from one car to another. You could jump from a motorcycle to a limousine if you could find it and start driving it. So you never had to really go on foot. You could just jump from one vehicle to the other. And the first time I had ever seen that done, it was on a PSP game called, it was something Patrol, I believe. Police Patrol, I think I'm reaching with that, but it was something Patrol, and it was on the PSP. The first time I'd ever seen you being able to jump from one vehicle to another without having to get on foot and run to the car to get inside of it. So that Wheelman, along with the mechanics and the how you would play the game, because again, it wasn't a really big focus on shooting a gun. Of course, in the later missions, you were actually able to get a gun and shoot. And I would say that those were the lesser, those times in the game weren't as fun as, when you were in the car driving. And excuse me, I just belched, y'all, pardon me. But the vehicle combat. Oh my goodness, man. This thing was ahead. I ain't gonna say it was ahead of its time. I ain't gonna go that far. But I had never played anything quite like this game at the time. And I have to say, I don't think I have to this day. The closest thing I could compare it to is maybe, it's not Burnout, because Burnout is a racing game. This was not a racing game. This was an action game. But also Driver. Driver wasn't the same either, because like I said, they lost their mind when they start having you just automatically warping into another car. I couldn't get with that. But the car combat in Wheelman, it made you feel like you were looking at a Hollywood movie. How you would take the right analog stick and hit the cars beside you. Boom, boom. You would keep on like hitting them, and all of a sudden they would the car would flip. And it would go in slow motion, and you would just see it explode. Boom! In slow motion. That game was so good. I would love to see a sequel, a remake, something with the Wheelman name attached to it. And then you had this one move where you could take the car, flip it around, make it do like a 180, and Vin Diesel, the character, in the game, he would start shooting his gun outside, and you would see just the mayhem of the other vehicles blowing up and stuff. Oh my gosh, Vaughn. I need that, brother. That game was awesome, man. Anyway, Vaughn, man, as always, brother, you hit me with these messages, man, and I just keep going and going and going. Man, Vaughn, thank you again for this message, brother. This was awesome, man. You took me down memory lane with Nintendo, took me down memory lane with these other games that I would love to see get sequels or remasters. I mean, just a great voicemail, brother. I appreciate it, man. And thank you so much. And hopefully you can continue to, call in and, just leave your thoughts, brother, and questions. And, yeah, man, I'm getting long-winded as usual, but I appreciate you, brother. And I look forward to hearing from you very, very soon, man. But we're going to get into the final email. And I got to say, I got to shout y'all out, man. Even though the show is going up late, I know, pardon me. I know it's going up days later, but I didn't think at the beginning of the week, I think it was one email and it was Crimson Phoenix. And I was like, well, guess you better find some stories to write to fill in the time. But then it was like the email started to flood in. And like I say, man, it is really no show without you guys. So I appreciate it so much that you guys write in and take time out of your busy day to do so, man. Thank you guys very, very much. But we're going to go ahead and get into one subset. Tekken, he's going to take us out into the sunset with his email, which is entitled, I Can't Help But To. He says, hello, Kiaun, man, it's a long message. What's up? So you had a lot on your mind with this one, brother. He says, hello, Kiaun. I hope all is well. Striving and surviving, brother. He says, I'm just going to start out by saying I am pleasantly pleased with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Whoa! He says, can I just tell you, this game, playing through the first part, brings back a lot of memories of enjoying this game for the very first time. And it also reminds me of where I was in life when the game first came out. Let me tell you something, brother. Mass Effect, I haven't picked it up yet, brother, but Mass Effect, the first one, brother, listen, man. Again, a game that I didn't get into right away. I had to put it down and pick it back up. But when I got invested in the story, one subset, when I start making decisions, oh my gosh, the game got great, man. But all right, from this point on, I'm gonna just read your email, brother. I'm probably not, but I'm going to do my best. He says, where I was in life, and okay, he says there are slight changes that I can't complain about, like the way the Mako has better controls and an added boost button. Yeah, that Mako was a little trying back in the day, wasn't it, brother? He says all of the graphics have been so much improved. The clean new look makes this game look like a 2021 game. He says now, some of the systems and the mechanics of the game, while they are still the same, I didn't expect them to change that. He says, I feel that they have really outdone themselves, and BioWare with this game can win back the goodwill of us customers. Man, this is great to hear. That you really feel this strongly about it, that this is the game that's going to get BioWare back on track. That's excellent. He says there are a couple of bugs or glitches in the game that can be fixed with a patch. I fell through a rock cavern and ended up in the sky. Oh, shucks, God, that sound like a Bethesda game. I'm sorry. I had to do it, man. You know the joke. Bethesda, brother. I had to do it. He says, once again, all this can be fixed with a patch. I am about 6 or 7 hours into Mass Effect 1 and enjoying it. Secondly, yes, my email's getting a bit long. Brother, I guess you knew exactly what I was going to say. The timing was perfect. He says, hold on, let me find it again. He says, Okay, secondly, yes, my email's getting a bit longer again, and it's just because I see that, well, there's not a lot of other feedback. So why not? Very, very good point, my brother. That's right. Help me pad this show out, man. Help me. He says, let me see. Hold on. Okay, he says, I saw that story about Sega and how they are looking at certain IPs that they have to bring back. Yeah, I'd love for Virtual Fighter to come back, but what you don't know, quote, we, end of quote, know is coming back already. He says the Virtual Fighter community has really started to grow over the past 4 years when that video hit last year. Things really skyrocketed as far as activity in these Virtual Fighter clubs on Facebook. Now, Panzer Drag, that's great to hear, man. I'm glad that people are playing the game and that it's an interest again, a big interest in Virtual Fighter. That game was ahead of its time. I had never seen polygons done like that. But all right. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going, One Subset. I'm going. He says now Panzer Dragoon is a straight up cult following. Behind that game, yes, I'm part of the problem. Any game that you have bought for $39 back in the 90s and you sell for nearly, for near $1,000. Guess that's what happened. I did that. Oh, shucks, man, that is a huge price hike. He says, makes me part of the problem. The game was never a commercial success, but the people who love the game really, really love it. And depending on what type of game that they decide to bring, whether it's on rails or another RPG, will determine the fate of that game. He says, I'll buy it and I will see it another 20 years. And he says, and I will see in another 20 years if I can sell it again for another $1,000. He said, God, dog, that's a heck of a flip, man. Gosh. He says, well, that's it for me. As always, wash your face, hands, and butts, and please wear a mask. One Subset Tekken. Thank you so much for this email, brother. Golly, I just closed it up by mistake. There we go. Yeah, man, I'm just glad that Mass Effect is working out for you, brother. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You have very positive vibes about it. Very, very small glitches that you know that can be fixed with a patch. I'm just glad that they really did their thing, man. You seem very, very impressed, saying that this game actually, the way that they've remade it or remastered it, it looks like it could be a game of 2021. And Mass Effect is just, man, that's another game right there. The storytelling in that, I had never seen anything like it in my life. Just the choices that you made in one game actually literally carrying over into the sequel, never done before. Never. Not on that scale. I had never seen anything like that. The choices that you made were incredible. I mean, that's that BioWare DNA, man. I mean, talking about games like Jade Empire. Hey, matter of fact, hey, Vaughn, going back to your question, I'm sure a ton of people would love to see Jade Empire come back. Well, I don't know. I think that was a bit underrated. I think Jade Empire definitely would deserve a sequel as well. But yeah, that's just the DNA of BioWare. Virtual Fighter actually coming back, doing their thing, getting a strong following as well. I'm just great to hear all of this stuff. And just the fact that you were able to sell a game that you bought, One Subset, for $39 for $1,000. Man, I ain't no Panzer Dragoon was that big, had that big of a cult following. $1,000, brother. God dog, man, let me borrow $5, brother. Can I borrow a $5 bill, brother? Go ahead and email it to me, brother. Email me the $5. Let me borrow it, brother. Oh, man, but what's up, Sam? Thank you, brother, for the email. I truly, truly appreciate it, man. You definitely took us out into the sunset with that one. Good grief, $1,000. That's amazing. Oh, man. Well, guys, let me shout you guys out one more time for the road. Shout out to Crimson Phoenix. Shout out to One Subset Tekken, Glove Box Gaming, and Vaughn. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show this week. Really, really appreciated it, man. You guys absolutely make the show, because without y'all, the show really is not the same. So thank y'all. Well, man, that is going to wrap up this episode. Once again, if you guys enjoy the content, if you enjoy what we do over here, please go over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. It would be very, very much so appreciated. Well, with that being said, guys, we are going to get up out of here. And before we go, yeah, man, get on out there and play some games and enjoy yourself.